everyone. Welcome to tonight's Pets Plus Live Beyond the Pages. I hope you can hear me and see me. If you're just joining in, please say hello. I would love to know that you're here with us. And I'm your show host, Candace Daniolo of Pet Boss Nation, and I'm a regular columnist for Pets Plus magazine as well. And I'd love, again, to hear, as we've got some viewers coming on, as you join in, please let me know with an emotion or a comment that you can see us. Great. Sue Ryan, hi, how are you, Sue? Please let us know that you're here and tell us about your business. You know, I am so passionate about helping small business owners, and I know that Pets Plus magazine and every contributor that's in that magazine cares deeply about helping you too. So these live Beyond the Pages are where we get to go beyond the magazine. This is actually the latest copy of the magazine from March. If you haven't seen it yet, it will come to you very, very soon. But these Beyond the Pages are for you, the readers, to connect with contributors and experts. And tonight I have an amazing guest with me tonight, Paul Lewis. And he is a regular contributor with the Brain Squad, the Pets Plus Brain Squad. And the Brain Squad is Pets Plus's monthly survey panel. It's made up of owners and top managers of consumer-facing pet businesses across the whole country who have volunteered to participate in their surveys. And each month, these members of the Brain Squad get just emailed a short survey consisting of multiple choice questions and answers, short open-ended questions, and they the responses are used in different kind of departments and features throughout the magazine. So if you want to join the Brain Squad, I'm going to leave you a link here. Let's see. I love how I'm getting questions right now. People, I love, this is live. This is here. Here's what's great about live Facebook Lives. I'm live. I'm with you guys. I'm ready to talk to you. And we've got people chiming, sending me messages. There we go. I love it. Pamela, I'm calling you out tonight. She's sending me a private message. I can't help you though, Pam. But she's just found us. So thank you for checking in. But, you know, live things happen. Things happen live, and you've got to be prepared for those. So thank you for joining in. All right, here we go. I have got now the link. We were just talking about Pets Plus Magazine Brain Squad members. I've put a link if you later want to go join and check that out, or if you want to open up a new browser. But I'm going to show a picture here. I'm going to bring Paul's photo up of him as a Brain Squad member wearing his, I'm going to get rid of this other little thing here. This is a t-shirt that you get when you are a Brain Squad member. I think it's so cool. But what I love the most about this shirt and Paul, and you're going to get to know him in a little bit here, is that he said, nice t-shirt, guys. Thanks so much. But it would have been nice if it could have killed you to put a bird's footprint on it, because Paul owns Birds Unlimited, which is a bird store. And that t-shirt has paw prints of dogs and cats all over it. Well, Pets Plus listened, and they said they've actually revised the design and that it includes prints of birds and a couple other little critters. So Paul is making an impact in the pet industry in multiple ways than just being a brick and mortar retail store owner. All right. So, you know, Pets Plus, just while we're waiting for a few more viewers to join on tonight, Pets Plus just got nominated or as a finalist for an amazing opportunity in the publishing industry. Okay, I'm not a publisher, but they just announced that they were one of the finalists in a key category that's one of the most prestigious awards in the business-to-business journalism for the Jesse H. Neal Awards for the best single issue. Can we guess? I want to get some likes and some hearts for Pets Plus, because there are so many magazines out there, and they were a nominee for the best single issue. And the issue that was that they were featured for is the one from last June, July, where Jungle Bob was on the cover. It was their America's Coolest Stores, and I wish I had a copy of that magazine. I swear I went through and I have it here somewhere. I couldn't find it for you tonight. But what I love about that magazine is it features, they had a contest for America's Coolest Stores, and it featured all kinds of pet businesses across the country who qualified to be super cool. And they're doing it again. This coming 2018 issue is going to be released soon. They have a contest running right now. I'm going to share the link for their America's Coolest Store contest right now, because if you want to be on a cover of a magazine, if you want your store to be featured as one of America's coolest pet stores, you have to enter, because if you don't enter, you will never know if you have the possibility of winning, right? So I just put the link in there. Check it out. Don't delay on joining, because the deadline is March 15th to be considered as a finalist or a winner for the America's Coolest Pet Store contest. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. So again, welcome. This is the Pets Plus Live Beyond the Pages. I'm your show host, Candace Daniolo, pet business coach and consultant at Pet Boss Nation, and a regular columnist for Pets Plus Magazine. In each episode of Beyond the Pages, you get to go on a journey with me where we go beyond the printed pages, connecting you directly with the experts and the contributors and providing you the opportunity to talk directly with us. So before I bring Paul on, please, please, please interact with us. This show is so much more fun when you engage, when you write comments, and you ask your questions as we're going along. So please type them in the thread. And I truly believe that we're stronger together. So if you have another pet professional or pet industry person that you're friends with on Facebook, tag them in the comments so that they can tap into the brilliance of Paul Lewis, because he's been in the pet industry for 27 years. All right, Paul. And Paul has a special guest with us. I'm going to bring him on here in just a second. You guys, I just talked to him. He has birds all over the place. There's birds everywhere. He's trying to keep them calm and asleep. But we may have a little bit of noise with us tonight, okay? And I think there's a special guest with him right now. Name's Tango. All right, I'm going to bring Paul on. There we go. Hi, Paul.
Candace, how are you?
Good. I'm going to Mahler so that we can see Tango.
Okay.
Hi. So before we get to know you, Paul, tell us about Tango.
Tango is a bird that we have here because the owner could no longer care for him. He's in his 20s. He's a green-winged macaw, and I don't believe he spent a whole lot of time outside of his cage before we got him, but he's adjusted great here. All kinds of food and diet. He loves all kinds of stuff, and he gets handled by nearly everybody, and he's really quite social. He's turned around to maybe be a program bird for us.
To turn out to be a what for you?
Program bird. We do programs at the museum, the schools, churches, scout troops, and stuff like that. And he's really quite steady, and that's the kind of bird you need when you take him out among the public.
Yeah, or to be on Facebook Live and on camera. He's getting his digital global influencer domination right now. I love it. Well, welcome, Paul. I'd love to share a little bit more about you with our audience here. So Paul Lewis discovered his love of birds as a teen when he was working after school at a pet store. And he has since owned and operated Birds Unlimited for 27 years. Paul prides himself in finding the right bird for each customer, drawing on his deep knowledge of animals, and he has certifications and accreditations are so numerous to list here for me to say to you. He's lectured at a variety of settings, from local bird clubs and museums and schools, like you just said, to Cornell University. So, Paul, how does it feel to be so accomplished?
Well, you know, it's good, I guess, but it's just the nature of things. It's just the natural progression of you want to know more. You know, when I kept tropical fish, keeping them wasn't enough. I wanted to breed them. When I wanted to breed them, I wanted to breed the next most difficult thing. And then that's what got me into the pet store. And then when I got into the pet store at 16 years old, they had just a great scarlet macaw there that I fell in love with. And a few years later, she turned out to be a pretty reliable breeder for us. And she produced a lot of really nice babies. But back then, you didn't see a whole lot of large birds. But I kind of went from tropical fish to birds pretty quickly, and people started giving me birds, and that's how I kind of got my collection going and started breeding a few. And I started a bird club, and then I started going to seminars and reading more magazines and taking some,
Was this while you were a teenager or in your early 20s?
People started giving me birds in my teens, and by the time I was like 24 or something, I think I started a local bird club that I didn't realize there's such a need for it. But we went from 23 members to about 200 in about a year and a half. And regularly 100 people at a meeting, and it went nuts. It was crazy, but it's fantastic. Education is just such a huge part of animals, not just birds, but dogs, cats, reptiles, everything in the industry.
Yeah, before this wasn't on our questions as you and I had talked before, but I'd love to hear about how you got so many people to join your club. Back then, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't digital marketing, there wasn't email. So how did you grow such a big fan base?
Basically, it started, I had the interest in birds, and I started with a little $24 3-line ad in the local newspaper. And I said, it might work. Who knows? It's worth a shot. And our town had a little free, room that we could use every month. And we started getting phone calls, and people started to show up. And, I was pretty happy. I think it was like, 20-some people the very first meeting. And the next one, it got more. And it's just, oh, my God, what I get myself into. But there's no internet back then. This is 40 years ago. Not quite 40 years ago. But so all the newsletters were, photocopied and folded, spindled, and mutilated and hand addressed to everybody and sent out. And it went crazy, but people wanted the knowledge. There were plenty of people that had birds that didn't even know what kind of birds they had. And there was a few people that, like myself, had very good background, and we were happy to share that information.
I love that. And then you started working at this other pet store, and then how long did you stay there? Was that a full-time job for you, or did you? It turned
out to be, I graduated from high school, and I stayed there another 4 years, like just over 6 years, I guess, total. And I said, retail stuff, I don't know if I want to work for somebody else, retail. And then my brother's a dentist, and he thought he needed a dental technician. So went into that field for 12 years, all the while still raising some birds, hand feeding them, selling them to other pet stores. And then I said, man, I don't like this dental thing too much, and I thought that I would take a shot at this, take the risk. And it has, the location I was first at was 1,000 square foot. Then I went to 2,000, then I went to 3,500, and my current store is about 3,600 square foot. So.
Wow. And were you always in the same area in Webster?
I was in Penfield, which is just the suburb away. Like 6 miles away from my old store. But that was a strip mall. Here, I bought the property, and it turned out to be a much wiser move. So.
Yeah, I have not my own business, brick and mortar career. I couldn't. I'm in the city of Chicago, and my current doggy daycare, they want like almost $2 million for that lot. So I don't even think I could get the down payment down together for that, let alone, I think actually my rent might be cheaper than a mortgage on a $2 million property that still would need basically a new building built on it. So, but I do know that buying your own building is the way to go. Why has that been a benefit for you?
Well, it's the clientele. I was very grateful that they pretty much followed me over. Nearly everybody, except I thought I was going to lose the little old ladies with their pound bags of canary seed, and I did. But I knew there's got to be little old ladies over here with canaries too. But they didn't find me. It's taken a while, but they're coming in. But I'm a little closer to the city, so the clientele's a little different. But I'm right on Irondequoit Bay in Webster. It's just a beautiful location, and you can smell the water in the summer. It's very nice. But in the long run, I think it's. I can sell it. I can rent it. I'm not going to do this forever. Although some days it seems like it. Most days it's still a pleasure to come in.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Let's go from the beginning. You might end up be doing this for forever, but in the beginning, you were passionate about maybe thinking to do this, but you mentioned that your dad was kind of against it, didn't think it was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I can still picture where he was sitting, the whole conversation that, you know, he had cancer. We knew that he was going to be dying, and I wanted to let him know that what my plans were. And as soon as it came out of my mouth, you know, he was very much, what do you know? You don't know anything about business. You don't have the money. You can't do this, and very negative about it. And it took me years of just running that conversation through my head, and it was one of those things that kind of held me back a little. You know, you listen to your father. Your father's supposed to be right, but it was I thought I'd take the risk, and it panned out pretty good. So.
Yeah, how long did it take you to open your business after hearing him say that to you?
I'm guessing probably 3-4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how our family and our relatives and loved ones do play an impact in our lives, which they should. But I think for anyone that's watching, you know, if you have an idea and you're passionate about it and you've got the background and you want to take the risk, I mean, what's life without risks, right?
At some point you should do it.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, as long as it's kind of smart, but usually, you know, I mean, of course, there are businesses that people go into business and open, and the statistic is that I think half of all U.S. businesses close by, you know, before year one, or even year, I don't know if it's year 1 or year 5, but most never make it to year 5. And so for you to get as far as you have, I'm glad that you know, even if it wasn't right away, but you went after what you wanted and you opened up your own business.
Yeah, I'm not a numbers kind of guy. I didn't do extremely well in school. I didn't go to college. We took some night courses, and it helped a little bit that way. But it really did not prepare me for what the real life was, as far as like town variances and codes and rent and making everybody happy and whatever. So it still didn't really prepare me exclusively, but it helped certainly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've kind of the same, well, not the same way. When I went to college, but then, you know, we spent all this money. I got into all this kind of debt with loans. And then when I decided about 2 years after I was out of college that I wanted to go into business for myself, my family was like,
well, people think
college
you don't have a boss when you own your own business. But basically, my customers are my boss. You know, they dictate, you know, what I carry in the store, you know, my hours. They dictate nearly everything. And you have to be cognizant of what's going on around you. You just can't, you know, do what you want to all the time. It won't work.
Exactly. Well, there's something that you said on your website. I loved in your About Us page about you, that you said that sometimes you're just known as like the crabby guy with the beard in the store. So how does a guy that's the crabby guy with the beard in the store also care so much about customers and offer good customer service?
I have an unbelievable staff. And okay. when I have customers that I don't want to deal with, the staff is fantastic, you know, and they cover for me. I'm an animal person. I'm not a people person, and I think most people realize that. And but if people have good questions, seriously interested, ask questions just once instead of several times, so I know they're listening. And especially if they have kids, it seems like no kids are getting into the pets like they used to because of video games or whatever. You know, back when I was a kid, I mean, everybody had multiple fish tanks and stuff. I lost you, Candace, but it was still very busy with kids. But to be a people person, I like people. I have made some unbelievable friends in this business. That I will probably continue long after the store closes. But yeah, it's good to see some people walk in. Others you kind of go, ugh. I think every store probably has that. But
yeah,
you know, I'm an animal person.
Yeah, well, to be successful. So if you've already mentioned that what I love about you is that you know where. Can you hear me? You can't. Can anyone else hear me? It sounds like Paul might be having problems hearing me.
I'm not sure where Candace went to.
Let me pull you up. Hi, can you hear me, Paul? Can you hear me, Paul?
I got you back, Candace. Yep.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, when you said that to me, I can still see my screen going, and I started talking to you, and I'm like, I don't think he can hear me. But you did a great, and I tried to put the bird on and everything. So anyway,
it went black here, so I couldn't hear it.
Okay, well now I know the trick. I just take myself back on and come back up. Says I'm back. Okay, great. The thing that I love, Paul, about you and even what you've expressed tonight is you've said that you're not a numbers person, but obviously to be in business this long, you must have hired somebody who knew what to do or how to help you, and a team member or someone that has that strength. And then also with the customer service part, you said you hire people, and so I think it takes a long time, especially for entrepreneurs who are either just starting out by themselves, to start to build that team. And they try to do everything, and they think, even if they don't think they're great at it, they think they can save money by maybe doing it themselves or learning themselves. But it sounds like you've been able to tap into knowing what you either don't want to do or aren't good at and find those right people. What's that process been like?
It's you're exactly right. When I first started, plus I didn't have a whole lot of employees, so I did pretty much everything until business started rolling a little bit. But it took me an awful long time, just because I felt that if I did it, it would get done right, it would get done in a timely fashion. But about 5-6 years ago, a girl came in here, and she spoke very intelligently. She had a true love of the birds, and she came right out. She's the first person that came right out and said, "I would like to be your manager." And it took a couple of months of that kind of weighing on me and saying, it'd probably be great to delegate some of this stuff. And what it's done is the other staff members don't have to come to me for answers or questions or whatever. They can go to her, and she's helped me immensely. So, but every staff member I've got, though, is just one excels in this. Not everybody is perfect with everything. But this person may be great handling bird. This may be great on the phone. This one can talk to people. We took on a Hispanic girl. She's fantastic, but I love the way she can interact with my Spanish-speaking clientele. And they come right out and tell me how nice it is to have a bilingual person in the store. And I know in the past it's been uncomfortable for me, whether it's a sale lost or not, but I think people are just more comfortable speaking.
Yeah, no, I agree. In Chicago, and this kind of happened by accident, but I had two girls who worked for me who grew up speaking Polish at home. But then what ended up happening is we got a couple Polish-speaking clients who were probably over the age of 50. And they then started telling other people that our store had sales associates that could help them. And it built a whole network of the Polish community that were shopping with us. So when you're in an urban environment, or you have even pockets of communities from other places, it is a great asset for you to have as a business owner to develop that customer line. Okay, how do you find, because I know that's what people are thinking, because I get that question all the time with my clients, is how to find good people. So you said this one girl just walked in, she seemed very intelligent, and you hired her, but how do you typically find your employees?
I think every employee has been a customer, and so they have an interest in birds. And if you see them more frequently than others, maybe they're a little bit more serious about it. But and then just through talking with them, you can tell that there's that kind of interest, and maybe they'll fit among. Everybody's got to kind of fit together, and the group I've got right now is really great. I mean, it just everybody gets along. They socialize outside of the store, and it's just really nice.
Do you at this point in your career, did you hire all of these people, or do you have someone else that's kind of helped put this awesome crew together?
Me and my manager, it's a mutual decision. It's sometimes she'll have to talk me into somebody, and it either works or doesn't work. And then likewise, for me, sometimes I see somebody that I think this would work, and doesn't always work out.
Have you had any customer, because I know that the fear of hiring a customer is that then what if it doesn't work out, or you have to discipline them and then they're no longer a customer? Have you ever had any of those scenarios happen?
Oh, sure. There's some people that are like, I've had a couple princesses in here that didn't think they had to show up for staff meetings, and I'm sure they're not too crazy about talking positively now, but for the most part, I think I've kept pretty good tabs with a lot of my ex-employees. And, it's a pet store. Honestly, I have to say this is not necessarily a career move for a lot of people. And it's, they move on to, I've had 4 girls go on to be veterinarians. I've had several go on to be vet techs. I have 2 people currently that are working at an animal hospital and is a wildlife rehabilitator. I have a couple other girls that are studying to be vet techs. So it's, and another one I think went on to be a surgeon from Harvard.
What I love about that too is that hiring your customer. I mean, I have done it a few times, and I would say the majority always turn out really well because they already know the products. Typically, they've tried a lot of the products already, so they've got, and that's part of in selling. One of the easiest ways to sell more product is if you've actually used it. And usually they live in the neighborhood, so they can get to work easily. And they already know people in the neighborhood, so it usually is a win-win. So it sounds like to me, that you choosing to go that route has outweighed kind of the fear place that maybe some people would have of hiring a customer like that. The other thing I want to get into right now is how you have taken becoming a subject matter expert. You've become a subject matter expert. I'd like to know how you did that. But then also you have written for all kinds of publications. You've gone and been a speaker. How has that journey developed for you?
Slowly, it just, like I said, you get to one point, then you want a little bit more. What else could I progress into? And you just, the biggest thing, I'm honest to a fault, and I would rather not try and remember what I told this person and tell this person. So, I go on to starting the bird club, and from the bird club we needed speakers. So, I've been to maybe a bird park over in the Canary Islands. So I do a talk on that. Then maybe the club down the road of Buffalo needs me, and then the one in Syracuse needs me, and then a new magazine comes out. I wrote for a magazine called Parrot World magazine for years, and it was just a little article every other month, but it kind of got me some recognition there. And then I wrote for Bird Talk magazine a few times, and all the while, there's a local pet magazine here that I had a monthly column in, and it just kind of snowballed, and people started to know me, and they know I'm a no BS kind of guy, and I don't tell you one thing and do something else, and people come in whether they like me or not because they know I've got stuff. This store is packed, and my feeling is that if there's a bird product out there that is good, worth selling, worth its weight, I better be the one to have it in town or accessible to people within, say, 100 miles. Because that's what they expect when they come in here. All the stuff that I've got, I wish I could move this camera around and show you the stuff. There's some stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
But yeah, so it's been a natural progression as far as just doing more. But education basically is what it comes down to. When I go to the museum and hand out information or answer questions, Birds Unlimited store, the store name doesn't come up. We're not here to plug the store. We're there just to give information, answer, maybe dispel some myths. And but people, they always see customers when I do it, so they know where I'm from. But it's still something nice to go out and you're not pushing for a sale or trying to schmooze people or anything, So.
Yeah, it's like you're being what I like to call a go-giver. You're going and you're giving, and you're just giving great content, and you're sharing resources, and go-givers get, right? So eventually they're either going to you're going to spur, because I would assume for you, these birds live a long time. They live a lot longer than dogs do, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Like the bird here, Tango, next to me, hopefully you'll get 30, 40 years out of them. It's not that 70, 80, 100 that you read all the time. There's been some long-lived birds, but generally it's not like that. So.
Okay. And so you've got a really good kind of lifetime value of a customer if you just invest that time in educating those customers.
If you educate them properly, they'll keep the bird longer, or maybe not get a bird, and that's fine with me too.
Yeah.
I'm not here just to be pimping birds out the door just to make a buck. I'm not a bird flipper. I try to do right by the bird. If people have to get rid of the bird, 5 years, 10 years down the road, I will almost always take the bird back in just because I feel responsibility to it. Right.
And I think you have a program too that you developed for lost birds, because I don't have much bird experience. And I guess there's a time of the year, I think when the weather gets warmer maybe, where they actually take their birds outside and then they fly away. Tell us more.
It's so much a program, but on my website, there's a lost and found page. And as much as it's nice to take your bird outside, I think it's more for the person than it is for the bird. There's a lot of problems out there I know it was nice here today. We were almost at 60, but I know in March there's going to be a day, that oddball day that hits 70. I promise you the next day I will get a call that I lost my bird. It flew off. I took it outside.
Yeah.
It happens every single year, and it's so easy to avoid by either not taking it out, clipping the bird's wings properly, but still clip wings, the bird can still fly a little bit, but it's just an accident waiting to happen. And it's unfortunate. So.
Yeah, the birds. I mean, how easy are they to catch?
I tell you, after they've been out for a few days, they're about as easy to catch as going chasing a sparrow or a blue jay around your backyard. They get pretty savvy pretty quick. So if they get really hungry and they're very affectionate bird, smart bird, they a lot of times will fly down to somebody. But I think about 10% of the people ever see their bird again.
Yeah. So now, birds, I don't feel like probably you can't purchase them in a lot of places, but you, I'm sure, have some competition. What's your biggest source of competition?
Probably as far as supplies go, the internet certainly. And I will try to, I tell people I would try to match or beat a price. But honestly, there's sometimes I can't buy a product for Walmart or maybe Petco's usually not a problem, but some like maybe Amazon is selling their stuff where I can't buy it as cheap as they're selling it, and I can't quite figure that out. But I will talk to some of my suppliers when I go down to Florida at the Global Show next month. But it doesn't make sense to me how the people like myself, other independent stores, we do the selling of these products just so people go online and buy from someplace else. It's not really fair. But bird-wise, people, there's always been a few people around town that breed a few birds, that maybe buy a few and sell them out of their house. And it's come and gone, for the last, 27 years. And it's really not bothered me. Honestly, in 27 years, I have been in the store all but maybe 12 days. And those days, it was like ice storms or I was at a convention or something. I've not had a vacation in a long time. Still on. She probably will tell you that too. So it's a commitment here. So. Yeah.
Can you see me now?
I still see you. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, see that you need to take a vacation, Paul.
I know.
As a business consultant,
committed.
I'm not happy to hear that you have. I am happy to hear that you're going to the Global Pet Expo in Florida. I will be there as well. I look forward to meeting you there. But really, truthfully, like the way that you, I mean, obviously you're passionate about what you do, and you must love being there every day since you're there so much. But, for the viewers, the way that you get out of your business is creating even more systems and structure. And that's at least how I've been able to take time away from my business. But, sometimes you got to be there. Maybe you're the face of the business. Okay, I would love for anyone who's watching, if you have questions for Paul, to just type them in the chat. We will bring them up. We'll bring your questions up here in a little bit. Now, Paul has a lot of fun, I think, outside of work. So you may not travel and take vacations, but you still have some great hobbies. Tell us what you do on the weekends.
Well, generally, it's things I do. Other than this is I play guitar in a band, and a lot of weekends that's what I did. The last 2 weekends it was both nights, and you can play loud and get some energy out, and it's good. You see, basically a lot of my customers will come out and see me. Last weekend, somebody walked in who was a customer, and they had no idea that I was playing there, and just kind of freaked out because I'm the bird guy. A lot of people will recognize me if I'm not behind the counter or with the bird poop on my shirt or something, But so that's what I do, and a lot of people don't know I do that. So
yeah, what kind of music is it?
It's classic rock and roll, it's blues, Tom Petty, Stones, Who.
Yeah. You're not playing some Jimmy Buffett with the parrot on your shoulder?
No. Although we get the request once in a while, but a little too tame for us.
Yeah. Well, now have you been playing music as long as you've been into birds?
Yes, actually, playing guitar in my bedroom was one thing better than doing homework. And so I concentrated on that. Then I kind of backed off for a few years and ran into some friends that had the same interest in the same sort of music. And we started to play together and I started playing out.
Nice. So in your business, what have been some defining moments for you?
Defining moment. Let's see. I have to say, breeding some of the oddball, rare species, like scarlet macaws, Queen of Bavaria conures, have been. It was just great to do. It was an accomplishment, and I felt great that way. I had another customer that I had mentioned to you. She had come in with her son Nicholas, and he had autism, some form of autism, and they picked out a cockatiel that it turned out that this bird had done more for this child, and I say child, he's probably 17, 18 years old, than a dog, than a cat, than anything they had tried. And I just thought it just kind of was much like a normal sale, except I was a little bit more involved with, and years later, although they had been very good customers, years later they moved to New Jersey, and they basically thanked me and said that they will always be indebted to me more and that bird for what it's done for their son. And that's when it kind of hit me. So it's just not making a sale; it's making friends, doing something positive. So.
That's really powerful. I think that's one of those stories that can, no matter what kind of down day you're having or how frustrated or how whether cash flow is a problem and all that kind of stuff, like that's a good story that you can revisit to help you get through tough times or tough days.
We still stay in touch with each other once in a while. A couple times a year, she'll message me Facebook or catch me on the store's Facebook page or whatever too. And it's kind of nice to hear from them. So
yeah. I'd love for our viewers to think about those defining moments of those customers that those stories that they can connect with too, to help them. Now, have you even, I just, because again, I'm thinking from the sales perspective, not even sales perspective, but how you can help more people, right? Because selling is service, really. And have you done any research or heard of any other stories where these birds have helped with autism?
I have not, to be honest with you. I really never heard anything like that before. I know that it's helped kids come out of shells a little bit because they have a pet to come home to or somebody they can talk to, but it's nothing like this one situation, really, no.
Yeah, even the coming home to who they could talk to. I wonder if it could even help with bullying and other scenarios like that. I guess all pets are something, a connection, and very important to help educate children about pet ownership. So that's good. I know that it can sometimes be frustrating when kids come into our store and destroy everything.
And while it's a pet store, I don't have gerbils or hamsters or kittens or puppies or anything. So it's not really geared towards children. So when children come in and run rampant, it kind of irks me a little bit. I really want the parents to take control of their kids. It's a reflection, of course, on how the parents are. Then usually that staff comes in, it's on those people.
Tell us what you really think, Paul. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I ended up getting like suckers, dog-shaped suckers in my store to say to them, can I give your child this sucker? Just to give them something to do. Or I had stickers for our shopping bags, and I was like, can I give you a sticker to wear and just, play with? I
do have cases children could fit in, though. But
no, that probably wouldn't go over very well. So other than crazy kids in your store, what else pisses you off in the pet industry?
You mentioned this. I asked my house, and they said, what doesn't piss me off? And that would probably be the easier answer. But I don't know. It's probably what gets me the most upset would be me screwing up. I've done this a long time. I know how it works. And when I make a mistake, that's what gets me the most. But having to repeat myself, having to do something for somebody else that I asked them to do, I'm not crazy about. But there's sometimes when you ask a direct question to somebody and they go off on tangents, my mind just starts. And I don't have the patience for it. And that's my fault. That's a patience thing. But
what kind of stuff do you mess up on? You've been doing it, so what would you mess up on?
I don't know, just like a cash register ringing it out at night and something screwed up or how something went. Nothing terribly major. But, it just, or maybe thinking back how you handle a difficult sale or something, somebody wasn't happy. But you have those once in a while. Honestly, very few, and it's just, but still, think back, hindsight is 20/20, so.
Yeah. It's hard, and I've had those moments too in my business where if it could be a reaction with an employee or even just my own ego getting in the way with a customer. And I probably did that a lot in the early years, whether it was somebody, I think one woman said that she bought something at my store and I was like, no, you didn't. I'm a buyer. Like, I've never carried that pattern. You didn't buy that here. And then she was like, so you're basically calling my mother a liar. And I was like, no. I'm not calling your mother a liar that she got it here. I just really don't, your name's on her computer. Like, I had to be right. And that was the worst place to be because, of course, she stormed right out and wrote this scathing Yelp review. And here I was like, yeah, that kind of did happen, though.
I had the same thing. And they bring back, a product with somebody else's, price label on, and the customer's always right. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love that you just said that about is the customer always right. I actually think I think my next article in April is actually about that whole topic in the April magazine. Is the customer always right? And my philosophy is not so much like that they're right, but that they need to leave happy. And in those moments of, now I've learned that I don't really, the confrontation isn't worth it. Just make the customer happy because it is the lifetime value of the customer. They don't have to be right. And you don't have to be right either as the business owner. So
staff that decision too, as far as how I think. Again, it's you want the customer to leave satisfied and hope they come back. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody, if you're watching, looks like we're getting a couple more viewers here. If you have any questions for Paul, whether it's about wild birds, exotic birds, bands and playing music and what it's like to have a beard, anything, please chime in with some questions. One of the questions I love asking for people, especially if they have a niche in the industry that I'm not experienced with, is what innovations or trends that you're seeing. What's going on in the bird niche?
Well, I don't really see a whole lot going on in the bird niche. It's, I look at all these pet trade magazines and, their annual reports and their surveys, and I see that, it seems like year to year, fewer people own pet birds, that the store sales in the pet bird department, whether supplies or livestock, is dropping a little bit, and I think we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. And I think maybe if the stores would interact with customers about birds, maybe encourage some breeding, they'd sell nest boxes, hand feeding formula, get those babies back into the store. And I think for a lot of stores, getting birds is not as easy as it was once, maybe 20 years ago. And so if you can get some of your staff or customers breeding some birds, that would be great. But I think the business is out there. I'm coming off the best sales year I've ever had, and like double digits better than I've ever had. And so I don't think it's just me. I think the business is out there. I think the pet bird business, it can survive and expand, but I think the pet, the magazines and maybe, all the manufacturers and such are backing away from it because it's not that big of a market like the aquarium or the dog or the fish.
Mm-hmm. So if a pet supply store, maybe if a store just focused on dogs and cats, it might not make sense to bring in some bird supplies or birds. It might in some scenarios, but I know that some people watching, offer kind of, they might be a smaller store still, but have a variety of small pet items too. What's the first segue that someone could do to bring in birds?
I would go with if you're doing livestock, I would do the bread and butter, the staple birds like your parakeets, your budgies, your cockatiels, sun condors, lovebirds, the stuff that is cheap. You don't have to have large cages for them. You can display them without huge cages. The mess is minimal compared to the bigger birds. The noise is minimal compared to the bigger birds. You can have 10 cages on display and it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. I have about 65 cages, a lot of big ones on display, and it takes up a lot of space. But I sell a lot of stinking cages. And but I think that would maybe be the way to start with the bread and butter stuff that people are mostly interested in. Mm-hmm. That make good pets too, make better pets than umbrella cockatoos or macaws, for instance.
Mm-hmm. They need like starter birds. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so Nancy again has a question. I wonder if I put it up on the screen, it's kind of a long one, so it might cover our faces, but we can all see it here. I'm going to show that there. Okay, so Nancy, any advice for a macaw that keeps self-mutilating? CBD was working, but now she's refusing her treats. She had 2 huge cages, a playground, and lots of things to shred. I've tried everything, and she keeps hitting the same spot. Cones don't work because when she heals, she opens her skin. So,
well, with a lot of times, I would ask her, are you reinforcing that behavior? You can train birds to, you can reward negative behavior by giving the bird attention, something to eat, something to play with, and really on something like that, you want to totally ignore. You can find something that the bird reacts negatively to, possibly like a stuffed animal, the water bottle, possibly. When the bird starts picking, you're not making eye contact. You're not saying anything to the bird. You're just walking up, putting that water bottle down for the cage, walking away, and should grab that bird's attention. It may be a balloon, different color or shape, maybe. You're not waving at the bird. You're not throwing it at the cage. You're setting it down, walking away. It should grab that bird's attention enough to stop picking at itself. When the bird is done not picking itself for 4 or 5 minutes, go up, take the balloon away, and then maybe give the bird a reward, say something to the bird. But we train a lot of negative behaviors. And the one behavior that I hear about most is screaming. And most people train their birds to scream. And most people have a screaming problem. But much like feather mutilation, throwing food, we react to it. We say something. We act very dramatic, and we give that bird positive feedback, and you have to think what that bird is doing when we give that bird something positive, and he says, well, that seemed to work. I got attention, or I got food, I got a treat, I got a toy to play with. I'm going to do it longer and louder the next time until they come over. So, but for feather mutilation, I would like to see you give the bird more baths if you're not doing that, but probably at least every other day. Plenty of stuff to play with. No attention when he's doing it in front of you. If he doesn't do it in front of you, then give him, it's just plenty of stuff to shred. I love like pine blocks and things. I don't like all the free time. I don't like a bird out of the cage 24 hours hours a day. I think they get more exercise actually climbing and into the cage. A cage is a punishment; it's their security. But I think that sit back and look at the cage, look at how you react to the bird when he does it. If you haven't had that bird to a veterinarian, I would probably do that first and rule out viruses, bacteria, parasites, funguses, nutritional problems, whatever. So.
Yeah. Clover always likes to try to get into the camera here. This is my dog, Clover.
And while I'm a bird guy, I got to say, dogs just a little bit above my birds. I will always have a dog. Dogs are great.
Yeah, you have 2 right now?
I do. I've got same country, different models. French Bulldog.
Yeah, I think Nancy has a bull mastiff too. I think so. Yeah, I think Nancy's probably knowing Nancy. I know they've gone to the vet already. Have you tried, Paul? Do you sell the CBD products at all or oil? Have you gotten into that?
I did, but it was months ago, and just it seems like in the last couple of months that it has just exploded.
Yeah.
And when I go to Global, I like to find somebody who knows, like, how many whatever milligrams or whatever that it takes to dose a bird, how often it needs to be done, really to be done right. I am a huge believer in hemp products, in cannabis legalization, and I think that's it's going to happen. But I do think CBD is just an amazing thing for animals and humans.
Yeah, yeah, we've started using it too to help with just anxiety, and it's worked.
It's just so vague right now. It's such a new topic and area that I think very little is known of.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'd love to, if you've whatever you discover, please share with us. Come back to this post on the Pet Boss Nation page and make a comment or share some resources. We'd love to hear what you find out there. All right. What else, since we're talking about global, is there anything else that you're going to be looking for or anticipating?
No, I don't think it's just me. I think it's got to be other pet stores as well, as far as getting product to their store. If I've got probably 3 distributors I deal with, and the back orders and stuff they're out of, it just makes it very tough to do business. You tell people it'll be a Tuesday, then it doesn't show up, or they don't have it. It's just it's very frustrating to get product into the store, and I know I can't be the only one. So I'd like to kind of
we have the same problem. I have a client who likes to order a lot from the distributors, and they have their own warehouse because they know the distributors are going to run out and can't keep things in stock. The bad side of that is that then you're stuck. Your cash, all your cash is tied up in that inventory that you don't necessarily need in the moment, But it's an interesting thing that's a problem, and then to hear you say it too, and I know I experienced it in my own store. I don't know if just the pet industry is growing that quickly, or there's just so many sales channels that that the manufacturers can't keep up with the demand, or if it really is truly even a cash flow problem for those distributors. Maybe they've ordered too much in other places. So it would be interesting to uncover that. And do you always go to Global?
I have never been to Global. I went to the backer shows years ago, but being that I've got this little niche for myself, there's 20 people, I'll visit 25 maybe, and if I was a full-line pet store, it would be more advantageous to me. Although by going, the show pays for itself, whatever the airlines and hotels will cost, I'll save on the specials that they offer. But it's just it just hasn't really panned out, and so I thought I'd try it again. So. Yeah,
I definitely think, coming to shows, at least going to one show a year, it doesn't have to be the same show, but finding either a smaller regional show or distributor show or something big like this is good to go, just to network and maybe go to some seminars or go to just to find potentially new products. Even though your Birds Unlimited, you could find some sort of aromatherapy thing or candles potentially even that might not be a huge seller initially, but it could potentially blossom into its own little shelving unit or gift item.
Yeah, I like to be the guy with the new stuff, basically. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping to see down there, some new things.
That's so important. Well, I'll be there on the whole time. I have a talk on, I have a couple talks on Wednesday for anyone watching, and for you as well, Paul, if you want to join in. I've got a talk on Wednesday morning that's about how Amazon and Chewy are taking all your customers. But really, you know, honestly, guys, it's not that they are taking all your customers. It's that there's a lot of things in our businesses that we could be doing better to compete and get more customers still shopping with us. And then I have a talk later in the afternoon about how to cash in on your business when you're ready to cash out. It's my kind of story and experience of having a brick and mortar and selling the store and the process that I went through for that. All right. So Paul, as we wrap up, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. I'm going to give your bird Tango there a little bit more exposure. Woo woo. Does he do any other tricks or talk?
Really no. And I don't think flapping wings really constitutes a trick, but he's a good boy though. So. I'm
sure he is. I'm sure
not
he
terribly
is.
loud either, which is nice. So.
And I gotta tell everybody, like, as much as I said there'd be noise, we haven't heard anything from the other bird.
No, we turned the lights off. They calmed down. It's been good. So.
Yeah, it was pretty loud earlier. I was a little nervous there. All right, Paul. So, what would be some good parting words that you have for our business owners?
Good parting words. I don't know. If you're like a full-line pet store, maybe expand your bird department. I think the business is there. I think it's working for me for 27 years and growing. It's don't give up on it because the magazines tell you to.
That's right. Yeah, don't give up. I like that. Don't give up. All right, Paul, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to you and Tango, and I really do hope to meet you in person at the Global Pet Expo. Have a safe travel down there, and thank you so much for always contributing to Pets Plus Magazine's Brain Squad. Keep it up. Your tips and your advice are great. So we'll talk to you real soon, okay?
Very good. Thank you. I'll look for you down there.
Okay, fabulous. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining us. I know that your time is very valuable to you. I know you're busy people. So thank you for tuning in for our last edition of the February Pets Plus Live Beyond the Pages. And if you'd like to talk more about your business, please find our free Facebook group, Pet Boss Nation. You can just search it, it'll pop up. And I think that Pets Plus has also started a community of their own, so you can find them online as well to be featured in the magazine. All right, everybody, we will talk to you very soon and hope Pet Expo. Bye, everybody.